Hello, welcome to Spring Term Organizational Communication, COM 420. In this class, in this video, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do in this class, go over the syllabus, talk about what you can expect, some of the assignments, because this class has very unique kind of design elements that I will expect you to bring your creative energy to. And what else? Wow, that'll be a lot. Some of you who are taking online asynchronous classes are in two of my classes, and so you will see a lot of similarities in the way I present even this video. Though there are unique things that COM 340 is doing that 420 is a little bit different on, so you want to kind of pay attention to those differences if you're watching me double trouble this term. And there's quite a few people in this class who are only taking this one and not my other online async class. So this video is got different things for you to help you kind of understand and navigate what we're doing this term. All right, so communication and organizations. I am in the Canvas site now and opening up the syllabus for the term. This is a 4-credit class, so that's 4 hours of instruction, and then you can expect about 6 to 8 hours of work this term, depending on you. Everyone's a little bit different. Some of you work a homework assignment that I say should take you about 2 hours. You might say, wow, that took me less than an hour. Check, it's done. And some of you, if you're like me, a teacher says this assignment will take 2 hours and it's going to take me 4 to 6 hours. And that's just the way I roll. I'm a tortoise, not a hare, as I like to say. So I move a little bit slower. The more classes you take from me, the more my story emerges. So you'll kind of understand a little bit about that. Let's see in the syllabus. So communication in organizations is, we're going to look at the system of communication as a system, or an organization as an ecosystem. To get to the ecosystem and start learning system theory, we're going to start with this idea of the history of organizations, and it has a very specific path through the Industrial Revolution as we started to see businesses get to more complicated levels of management and structure and people and CEOs and CFOs and all sorts of people in between. What is the difference between human resources and human relations? And you'll be able to identify kind of this historical place as we move into more current organizational models, which is the ecosystem model. That's what we're currently in. So we've been in all these waves of how do we do business on an organizational scale, like we're scaling up into these bigger groups. University is a type of organization. It's not business because business is moving towards profit. And that means there's this kind of competitive element in business. And academia is an organization that should be moving towards a shared governance, collaborative process. Those are big ideas, and we're going to explore what that means. So some of you took my business communication class. I just taught it in the winter, but I've taught it a lot, and maybe you've been in that class. And that's really the minutia of you navigating a job. Here, we're really going to see what is happening within the structure of the organization and what are the foundations of a good group. On my syllabus, on the first page, I have all the accessibility information, and some of you are working with DAS on campus to get the course accessible through that program. However, not everyone fits into the DAS slot. And if there's anything in the course, if I can help make it more accessible for you, reach out, let me know. Also, there's a lot of groups on campus that can help a lot with different things from uh, the Abbey House to food pantry to veterans and military service. There is the Writing Center, the library, computer services, the Center for Learning. We have a lot of things on this campus in this mass organization that might help you. And it's okay to ask for help. That is part of university life. And whether you're working asynchronously or on campus, it doesn't matter. These resources are built for you as a student, and there's really knowledgeable, dedicated professionals that can help you out. I'm here too. So, my name is Sarah Sheldrick, and I'm the professor for this course. I teach this course as undergrad course. That's this one. But I also teach it, a version of it for the Organizational Leadership Program. The Organizational Leadership Program is a master's program. Maybe some of you have seen it pop up on your and thought about it. If you have some questions about how to maybe if you're interested in a master's in organizational leadership, I'm a really good person for first contact if you want to hear about what the program is like. Or I can send you in the direction of someone who can also help you in a different advisor roles. We also offer it as a minor, depending on where you're at with your studies. You probably already have a minor if you're in a 400 level class, but if not, you might actually have some of the courses already uh, taken in our minor. So think about that, as well as communication. Okay, so I'm on campus 3 days a week. Monday afternoon, I have office hours uh, in my Bellamy office, and I also have Tuesday, not Tuesday. Nope, that's wrong. Thursday. I have Thursday morning office hours. So Monday afternoon or Thursday morning, you're in an asynchronous class. You may not have want to come to campus if you're already out and about in the world doing whatever, what all the moving parts of your life. I'm available virtually. So please let me know if you want to just jump on a call. It can be for 10 minutes or we can meet for a longer period of time, depending on what you want to talk about. If it's easier to be in dialogue with the professor, me, I'm the professor. If you want to chat about assignments and ideas you have, or if you feel confused by an assignment or not sure you're on the right track, great. Let's chat about it. Let's get on a call. It's the best part of the job for me is when you want to meet up. So I will offer it quite a bit. So if you send me an email, it's not my preference to receive emails. I only check my email about once a day. And when I check my email, it is littered with 20 to 30 listservs, all sorts of things that are happening on email that I'm not really, it's not really easy to see your messages. Make sure in the subject line that you say COM 420 and topic. If you put COM 420 right away, I have a better chance of selecting it out and making sure I answer you in a timely way. However, Canvas Inbox, which is my preference, uh, I mean, it has some disadvantages, but the best part is all the messages on Canvas are from my students, which are my highest priority to answer, and it gets my attention a lot quicker. I'm on Canvas quite a bit, working on courses. Working on this course, modules only open in a certain order, and I'm usually working on getting those ready for opening day from week to week. So I'm on there a lot. If you send me a message, you most likely will get a much more timely response. Okay, but let's figure that out and what's best for you. Uh, on the next page of the syllabus, there's stuff about student conduct, academic integrity. I have my AI statement here. Please turn in your own work. I know we're all up against deadlines, and AI is here to stay. Language models and programs are powerful tools when they're used as a tool. However, if they're used as a crutch, or they often become addictive, you want to be careful of not falling into those traps. They're designed to be addictive. I'll talk a bit about that if you end up. I talk quite a bit about that in a lot of my classes because there's a lot of really important information about what's happening with social media and addiction. And AI is things like chatbots. They are designed in a similar fashion for profit for others. So, when I grade your papers and if they feel stagnant, they don't feel unique, if they go through some of the tells, AI writing tells, you will get a note from me that you will need to work on finding your voice. If you're seeing things like I'm saying, finding your voice, I'm not really feeling like you are including your perspective in this. That might be because I'm getting something that feels a little restricted in how it is just talking about the class and not applying it. One thing I notice when, because I've been working in higher education and being a teacher for almost 25 years now. It's been a long time. And I've read a lot of papers, listened to a lot of speeches. I used to be a speech teacher almost exclusively for, I don't know how many, maybe 6 years. Uh, and so that means that I know when people are being I don't know for sure, but I can feel when people are being themselves or when they're just reading or when they're reading a prepared statement or they're not really being themselves. I'm looking for your more authentic approach to the topics. So one things that has changed in the way I read papers is I notice, and this isn't for everyone, I would say about a third of the class who's sending their writing through a chat or a, a language model and pumping out a stock answer that feels really clean and precise and it does exactly what I'm asking for. It'll have a very specific way that it's writing the topic sentence. It'll hit the key point. It does certain syntax. It has a syntax pattern it's following. And what I notice is that about a third of the class has almost the exact same answer. So if you are sending it through a chat and you're not putting your own stamp on it that makes it unique to you, it'll start to read like other people's answers. And that's what I'm noticing. Same with your verbal work in the class. So if you are going to have to give a presentation, you have to give a video presentation, you work on preparing, you send it through a chat and you get a statement and you are following that prepared statement, it becomes very stagnant and it doesn't feel authentic. I am not looking for perfection. I'm looking for you to be yourself. Let's figure out how to do that. If that gives you a feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what that looks like. It means you're not perfect. It means there's no edits. It means you're going to say, a few ums never bothered me or anyone else. It means you're a human being. Let's embrace that. There's some value in being human right now. And I think that's only going to increase. So let's use this time like a lab to increase your skill, to lean into who you are. If you're not sure about that, let's chat. Another reason to talk to me so I can help you with that. Okay, as we're moving along into the class, you have some technology responsibilities in this class. You have to be able to record and post videos. In Canvas, if you use the Canvas, you go to upload a video, you could record right into Canvas and you stop it and then it does a processing little wheel. Well, sometimes it doesn't catch in our Canvas. Whatever it is, the video processor software they're using isn't always the best one. And you might record a video that you're ready, actually ready to post, and you record in Canvas, and all of a sudden something breaks in that processing, whether it's a bandwidth issue or it can be all sorts of reasons. I'm not the person to ask about that. I'm an expert on other things, not an expert on that. I just know a lot of students run into a lot of frustrations when they use the Canvas video uploading uh, in the Canvas video recording and uploading. So you could use your phone. You could record your video on your phone, get the video, send it to yourself, and then get it downloaded. You might try to upload that just as is into Canvas. If you are uploading a video, it does take quite a bit of bandwidth to do that. So make sure you do it at a time that's not a peak time, especially if you're pressing the deadline, and everybody's pressing the deadline. It could be really hard to get it uploaded. Do it first thing in the morning when not everyone's on Canvas. You will find that it might go faster or easier, or use YouTube. That's what I do. Obviously, these videos I make are long. It's just like if you were in the classroom, it's a 4 credit class. If we had a 2 hour class, and I was doing lecture, that's a long time for me to talk. I wouldn't talk for 2 hours. I can talk for a good 40 to 50 minutes, though, as you will see in some of my videos, that you will have to, I have to think about how to upload this video. I often use YouTube. So that's one of the reasons. And YouTube captioning is getting better. It's still, uh, of course, not perfect, but we're trying to work on getting better captions, which I like that for everybody in the class to have that access. Another way that I try and integrate accessibility into the class. You need a camera. If you don't have a camera, if you don't have the ability to make videos, let's get you in touch with Computer Help Desk or the library. Let's see if we can find a place on campus where you could use equipment here or be able to check things out as you need them. Let's make a strategy for you. If you're struggling with the technology piece, it's no big deal. There is help. We just need to get you connected with the help you need. In the class, you have single video presentations where you will make a presentation to the class. You have, I think, at least 3, you might have 4, but at least 3 video presentations you will have to make. When you make these video presentations, I expect them to be in extemporaneous speaking style. Extemporaneous is a conversational style. It means you're not reading anything. Even notes. If you have notes, I have notes for what I'm doing with you right now. Here they are. They're just a few little squigglies of lines. I kind of check it to make sure I'm checking everything off, but there's nothing on a screen that I'm looking at, because that has a tendency to make your eyes kind of do a little shift thing. It kind of interrupts your nonverbals, your ability to talk in flow and without, you know, so be careful. Notes, there are a way to use notes to make them help you, and there's a way to use notes that can sabotage your presentation. So extemporaneous is not improv. It does mean you mean practice. You might make 2 or 3 videos before you make the one you like. That's okay. Make a plan for that. Uh, if you're making more than 3 videos, then we should chat so that I can help you prepare so you don't have to make quite so many to find the one you like. This is a skill. You are in a communication class and we are building a skill. I want to be clear. Zoom is, and Teams and other type of video formats are used in the world of business extensively and often. It is a skill to know how to make a presentation in a video, how to manage technology, use cameras, set up a professional environment, uh, not just a blur background. Really try and challenge yourself to think about how you're presenting yourself in these videos. This is, even though you are a student in a class, use the opportunity. So interviews, especially interviews, job interviews are almost done now, especially in organizations where you might be down to three candidates. They are going to almost exclusively do all the interviews on a conference call of some type. And that's this attempt to make things equitable as opposed to someone being in person and someone being online. There's a feeling that that is out of balance. And then when they get down to the last people that they're deciding, they often will bring people into the office for the last interview decision. So all of these communication skills you need are really, really important. So let's lean in and try and figure it out. I talked a little bit about grading and expectations already. There is a list for the percentages and how I grade if you want to get 100% or if you want to get 90% or 80%, there's a little bit of a scale there and the expectations. I expect you to use vocabulary from the class, apply vocabulary and theory to cases and examples. And in this class, especially, our cases and examples are we're going to the movies. So I have a movie assignment due this week, week 1 of the class, where you will have to choose the 3 movies you want to um, you have to tell me which 3 movies you're thinking of doing. Now, you can change your mind later on, especially as you start getting into the class content. You might realize, actually, this movie sounds way more interesting for how we're applying it to this vocabulary. That's okay. As long as you stick to my movie list, sometimes I will let you go off the list, but you have to meet with me and we have to go over whether that movie would work for the assignment prior to it being due. So if there's something that is on your radar you want to change from my movie list, let's make a plan to meet up and discuss whether I can approve that or not. And if we can, the sooner we can do that, the better. So the movie class means you have this class in particular, the structure of it is in 3 bubbles, where we first go into the history of organizations and management and what's happening there. Then the second part is complex, chaos, and complicated, and how do organizations deal with uncertainty. And then our last part is trust. Now we're building towards trust. I do have one book that is required in this class. Oh, I didn't pull it off the shelf. Let me grab it. This is edition 2 and edition 3. I'm okay with either one, whichever one you want. This is the book for the class. You can read this right away out of the gate. It's really small book, really short, and it is an easy read. It has a lot of good subheadings and trust checklists in it. We will be applying this book in the 3rd bubble of the class, even though everything we're doing is working towards developing trust in professional environments like organizations. So you need this book. It's also, there should be, if you do the 2nd edition, which is just as fine as the 3rd edition, it hopefully is cost effective. However, you could see if you can get it from an interlibrary loan if you need it as well. Keep track of those trust checklists. We are moving towards the 3rd bubble where you will be making your own trust checklist. So whatever you're liking in that, you want to take note of it. So 3 movies, 3 main topics. You'll have a paper and some type of visual element that goes with your paper. You'll do a presentation and then is one bubble. And then you have three team meetings. I will make your team. You'll meet with them three times, one for each bubble of the term. So one around week 3, 4, one around 5, 6, and then one around 8, 9 of the term. So that's kind of the rhythm of this class. Okay, I kind of went over assignments. We talked a bit about what to expect. Let's talk about late work. That's a really big question I get a lot in our welcome video or silly video, the syllabus video. So our late policy is I accept late work. And I have lots of scaffolding around how I do late work. After week 9, I do not accept late work at all. Once assignments close, once we get to a certain point in the term, the late work policy shifts to a different kind of style that's much more constrained. Before that, you'll notice what's unique to my classes is that my assignments are due online at 9 p.m., not 11:59 p.m., not midnight. So that means that if you're really used to a midnight due date and you plan your schedule to kick in to get that work done later, just know you're past the Canvas due date, but don't panic. Everything's okay because you can still turn it in at 11:59 p.m. and not lose a single point. That is a standard for the whole class. Even though the Canvas due date says 9 p.m., you're not actually late till 9 a.m. the next morning. So you have 12 hours and then you lose 10% for after 9 a.m. the next day. So that gives you time to, if midnight is your usual rhythm, go for it. No judgment. Canvas is going to say it's late. You don't have to say you're sorry. It's okay. Life is life. And I built in this bubble just for you. You don't need an extension. It's already exists within the class. There's a natural extension. You will get, Canvas will put the little late label on there. That's what it just automatically does. But there's a human being grading. I promise. I'm right here. Pinch me. I'm real. I'm not a deep fake video. I'm not an AI teacher. I'm sure they're trying to figure out how to replace me as well at some point. But for now, you have to deal with my all my mistakes and infallible nature here. So that means that you have that first 12 hours. Now, there's more. Yet wait, there's more. After 12 hours up to 48 hours, you only lose 10% of your grade on an assignment. So even if you can't get it in before 9 a.m., if it was a 10-point assignment, you'd only lose 1 point on that assignment if you turned it in after that, up to 48 hours, and then it goes up to 20%. And then after 5 days, that's when we move into a different type of, we're getting close to the assignment not being accepted after 5 days. So the assignment opens up, except for week 1, which it's opening up on Monday and they're due. But once we're in the term, most assignments open up at least 8 days before it's due. And then after that 8 days, you have another 5 days. So you have quite a bit of time to figure out how this fits in your schedule. If you're an athlete, if you're on the road, your game schedule, or if you're in military and you have boot camp or practices you have to be in, trainings, if you are in a club or if there's a play going on, or if you're family, there's a family event you'd rather do than this. You have quite a bit of bubble to figure out how to get the assignment done within. Once an assignment closes on Canvas, I do not accept assignments. I don't accept them by email. They cannot be graded after an assignment closes, so keep an eye open for those close dates. They usually come about 5 to 7 days after the due date of the assignment, but it varies. So keep an eye on that. Let's see, what is next? Oh, there's more. There's these things called flex points. So flex points are basically there's an accommodation that DAS, Disability Access Service, has where there's a flexibility accommodation. So I used to do this just for people who had the flexibility accommodation, but I decided again to make the class more accessible to more people who don't always fit in the narrowness of the definition for getting DAS services. I just made it for everybody. So there's 3 flex tokens. That means with a flex token, you can turn an assignment as long as it's open, uh, and not lose any points at all. You can get 100% if you did everything else you had to do correctly in the assignment. If you turned it in 5 days late or before it closes on the 7th day, if you use a flex token, you get 3 of them every term, that you can turn that in and no 10% off, no 20% off. It's just graded as is. You can run out of flex tokens and then it would fall to the standard late work rubric. And it doesn't work the same way for team meetings. I'll talk about that in a minute. So these are very for specific assignments we turn in online. I'm just talking about it here a little bit. There's a little statement in the syllabus, but on Canvas in the Start Here module, you can read a lot more information about it if you want more details. And it also explains why we're doing this and why this is to give you as much space. I mean, I was also a student that had a full-time job and kids at home, and I've been through the ringer trying to get through school. So this is just a way to acknowledge that what we're doing here is difficult. It's difficult to manage the time of several classes and all your other responsibilities. So in my class, we have these kind of this room for life that I'd like to extend for every single person in the class, for our athletes, for our service members, for people who are coming back to school and have families or full-time jobs. Whatever your circumstances, hopefully this will be useful for you, these flex points. If you don't have to use them. If you don't use your 3 flex points, they become extra credit. So if you get everything in on time or by the due date, then those 3 points convert over and they can make a significant difference in your grade. They can even move you up a grade if it's needed. Okay. This class comes with a content warning. All my classes come with contents warning because we deal with really difficult topics. One of the things in this class that we will explore is communication in workplaces. This can often, we'll talk about grief in the workplace. If whether someone's coming back from time off after a family loss, we often don't know the right things to say. We might talk about harassment or bullying, things that people really deal with in organizational communication. Talking a bit about conflict, though I have a whole other class that talks about conflict management. In here, we're talking more about the way organizations and human resources and what is happening with the way conflict is managed on an organizational level, which is a little bit different application. So these are tough topics. So what I'd like you to do is really take the time to prepare for yourself to have a plan. If you feel like someone who might be activated or have an emotional response that feels difficult or it brings up some pain, what I really like is for you to know what your plan is in that moment. So because we're asynchronous, you're going to be, where are you? You know, is this happening in your home? Is this happening on in your break room at your job? Are you experiencing this while on campus? Do you have someone you can call for who knows that you might be activated by a topic in the class, who can be there for you? What's your music? Some people like to listen to music, or some people journal to sort out their thoughts, or just going for a walk. We're going into the spring term. Some of the beauty of things coming back to life. Go expose yourself to that. Unless you have allergies, then be careful out there. It's allergy season. All right. So the way the class is designed overall, I think we kind of went over a lot of it. We start off right away with what is organizational communication and the ethics. And then we're going to go into this idea of the history of organizations, talking way back to the Industrial Revolution. And then we're going to move into this ecosystem or system theory approach, which is our current trending style for organizations. And then after that, and we'll have our first movie report. Then we will move into the idea of what's the difference between a complex issue, a complicated issue, and what is the difference between chaos and what's its relationship to best practices? Best practices are great, but they often lead to chaos. So we want to talk about that relationship and how do you manage uncertainty, whether you have power or you don't have power in an organization. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot to manage. Then we'll go into feedback, which if you've been in my business class or my conflict class, we talk well, more my business class than conflict, but feedback is a big issue in workplaces. We have performance reviews and interviews and team dynamics. We want to talk about what's happening there. We're going to talk about the difference between a task list and a checklist. In organizations, there's a big difference between tasks and checklists. And those of you who really like to work off a checklist or who've worked in a group where they were given a checklist, we want to know the difference between those things. And then we'll leave the class with a bit on dealing with grief or problematic conversations, difficult conversations, dealing with burnout and vacations as well. So these kind of all get clumped at the end of the term. When we're all burned out, I'll talk about burnout. And you'll be like, man, I can't believe I have to learn about burnout when I'm feeling burnout. Yeah, that's coming for all of us. Get ready. Summer, here it comes. We got one more term to go. So I hope that helps you kind of understand where we're headed this term. I'm really looking forward to teaching this class. It's one of my favorite classes to teach. It won't be in an asynchronous online for much. This is one of the last times it'll be taught as an asynchronous class. So I really am enjoying doing that, but I'll also enjoy in the future when we get to be in person again. All right. Good luck this term, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.